Welcome to Yogaxpress, the mobile stretch clinic that takes yoga to the people. Our program typically follows a very simple stretch sequence called 48 plus. It's a sequence of 48 ailment-specific stretches that, with the help of experts like Douglas Stewart here, we can practice very safely, because Douglas and other teachers like Douglas will teach us safe ways to stretch into these postures, and they target 8 common ailments and address all major muscle groups, glands, and organs in our body. We have with us once more Douglas Stewart, a very popular and experienced yoga teacher at Ishta Yoga and Yoga Works in New York. And Douglas is going to take us through an evening sequence today, a sequence that will help relax the body, calm the mind. And with us are our participants, Amy Kitchener to my extreme right, and Judy Jacob to my left. Amy and Judy have been with us in several episodes before. Douglas has been with us in a few episodes earlier on. We couldn't resist calling him again. So, Douglas, I think Judy had some wonderful questions for you, and so did Amy. So we have a few questions for you about you, your practice, and you as a person and as a teacher. And we would like, if it's all right with you, we'd like you to address that for us before we go into the evening stretches.
Sure.
Judy.
The question I had was, as you as a teacher, I think that yoga teachers have a real responsibility to the students that they instruct, that to keep them from getting hurt. What's been your experience with that?
Well, I always feel like when I'm teaching a class, and typically a class has anywhere from 10 to 30, 40 people in a class, and so
Douglas's class is more than that. I've been
well,
there.
at Times Square there were 500 people,
That's right.
But we have a responsibility to see everybody and to make sure that as we're calling out the postures or instructing into and sustaining and leading out of the poses, that people are approaching the posture with integrity and without harming themselves. That is a major responsibility for yoga teachers. Not to scare people away, but it's part of the yoga teacher's responsibility to make sure that the whole class is taken care of in that way. Safety is primary. But it's also up to each of the participants to know exactly, and you get to know this more as you're practicing, but to know yourself, svadhyaya I think it's called in Sanskrit, where you know yourself and know what's possible. If the teacher says, headstand, and you're not ready for headstand at that moment, then, and even with the most thorough explanation, it's a partnership between the yoga teacher and the participant to know exactly how far that student can go and how far he or she is able to move into that pose without injuring themselves.
It's so important for teachers to remind us every now and then that we only go into a stretch as deep as we can, as our body allows us that day, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I find very intriguing. Sometimes in yoga schools I find there are mirrors. Mirrors are good for alignment. Yes, it's nice to know I'm in Thula Danda, am I like a direct T, am I in a perpendicular T? But at the same time, sometimes vanity takes over, and then you think, oh, am I looking good in Virabhadrasana? And you're looking over there, and we're getting into stretches that we're not ready for.
Exactly.
Yes.
So do you think the mirrors are a problem? I notice not many studios here seem to have it, but
No,
some schools do.
I'm not fond of mirrors in the
No.
studio because it takes the attention away. It puts the attention on the external primarily.
Right.
Whereas as we're practicing yoga, we're trying to develop a sensitivity so that we can be internal and external at the same time. We want to feel and sense where we're going, rather than just relying on the external with our
Right,
eyes to figure out things like that. So I'm not a big fan of mirrors in the
But
studio.
would you think, is that a problem for some of us when, especially if someone is a beginner and they want to know that they've got the alignment right, or do you go by the feel? Does it feel right? Then it must be right. kind
Well,
of a
you
thing.
know, Banu, I explain the postures in my classes as just like constellations, really. In the days of the ancients, navigators, and they would use the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets even to navigate by. They were constellations that they would aim towards and navigate towards those constellations. I think of the poses as sort of like constellations. We're aiming towards that constellation, and by aiming and shifting the physical body and mind really towards that constellation, we're moving towards a proper alignment. Now that happens, we may veer too far to the right, we may veer too far to the left, but over the course of time you're steering your mind and body to that constellation, and when it fits, you're there
That
with
peace.
very little strain, no strain,
Wow.
hopefully.
Right.
Not only that, but you've taught yourself how to navigate, how to articulate, and you've brought circulation to specific organs and glands in the body. So that puts us away from just thinking, am I right or am I wrong?
Right.
It means that you're on a journey.
You're getting there.
You're
That's
getting
so
there,
important.
and that's the important part of the process.
Which is why it's so important. I find it so useful for me to keep my eyes closed, because the tendency then is not to look at anybody else. And it's improved my hearing a lot. Because if I keep my eyes closed and I will do what you tell me, and I'm not going to, let's say the instructor, sometimes some schools use the mirror method, and if they put their right arm out, they say put your left arm out, but we're all visual more than we are oral. So if my eyes are open, then I'm going to do what you are doing. If your right arm is out, but you're saying put your left arm out, I'm going to put my right arm out. So I think it helps me. I don't know, Amy, have you ever tried closing your eyes when you practice?
Not really. I mean, it depends
Right.
on how comfortable I am with the teacher and their style. When I first started, I was at the gym, so there were mirrors, and I found the mirrors helpful because I was always just doing the wrong thing.
Right, you want to make sure.
And it was a large class, and so I just wanted to be sure I was doing the right thing, not so much out of vanity, but because she did emphasize that the proper alignment, being in the proper place. So seeing as how she was walking around and not in the pose, so I can't look at her.
Right.
I'm looking at everybody else through the mirror without having to shift too much. So for me, in the beginning, the mirror was helpful.
Right.
And as I became more comfortable with the teacher and their style, I was able to relax into the pose, able to be more present physically and mentally. So I was able to close my eyes, and if there was any misalignment, she would come by and correct me. But I was, I guess, more confident enough
Right.
with her expertise and my ability at the time
To appreciate that.
to let it go,
Yeah.
to not be, to kind of block everybody else by closing my
Well,
eyes.
there you go. Amy has
So-
learned to zone out, so you are going to Times Square next year.
Well,
That
yes,
also teaches
I'm
to
really
zone
hoping
out.
so.
Yeah.
Well, you know the yogis have this thing about drishti,
Yes.
focus, and say you're in Virabhadrasana too, and if you place your gaze at the tip of your finger, or maybe even at the tip of your nose at some point during a posture, or you are at the tip of your nose, or at some point on the ground, you are able to maintain a specific awareness, both external and internal, so that you will know exactly where you are in the posture at all times in relationship to the room, but you also have this internal exploration as you're aiming deeper into the pose.
Right.
So you are outside and inside
So
with
we don't
that
have to
balance.
keep our eyes closed.
You don't have to keep them closed, or you.
It's a lot of
Yes,
self-control.
it's so many. It's a beautiful way to come into the moment.
That's true. That's true. That is so useful to know because I think it takes a lot of self-control, keeping my eyes open and not getting distracted. So I'm gonna try that.
With mirrors and
Yeah,
all
that's
this
right.
stuff that
Well,
goes on.
mirrors are okay. They actually distract me, but I think keeping my eyes closed, I thought was helping me become a better listener. But now I'm going to follow what you just suggested. I think it's wonderful. Have the focus point, focus at one point, and maybe that'll help me internalize.
Yes.
Well, we are ready for some stretches. We're doing
You want-
evening stretches
Yes, let's
today?
do some evening. You know what I thought we'd do first?
Yes.
Coming onto your back, we'll take a little twist. If it's onto your back, of course we have onto the back here. But then shift your pelvis over to the right side of your body. Just lift and
Should we
shift.
give our heads to the camera?
I think so.
maybe
Yeah,
they can
that would
see
be.
us
Yeah,
better.
there you go. You can be that way, and I'll be this way talking. That's better. There you go. And now with your knees bent, Judy, that's it. And now shift your pelvis over to the right hand just a little bit. Just lift and shift it. There you go.
With your
Pelvis or the knees, right?
Just
With
your
the knees?
pelvis. So
Oh,
you
just
want to
the pelvis.
lift and shift your pelvis
I
to the
see.
right. There you go.
Sorry.
Now roll over
Lifting.
onto your left side. Completely over onto your left. Come all the way over towards
Shoulder
me.
as well.
There you go. Left shoulder as well. Now bring your knees more toward your navel so that you can see them. That's it. There you go. And now hang on to your knees with your right hand. That's it. I'm sorry, with your left hand. There you go. On the top side of your knees with your left hand. There you go. And so, Banu, you want to bring this hand right on
Oh,
top.
I see.
There you go. And now fan your right arm open into a twist and even look to your right. That's it. Look to your right. There you go. Now we're in this twist, reclining twist, where you're getting a chance to just feel all of the tension that accumulated during the day beginning to drain down with every breath out, beginning to just sort of drain right into the ground with every breath out. The tension that you've carried through your shoulders all in the day, if you've been hovering over a computer, the tension that you've carried through your upper back and through your neck and through your jaw, just beginning to sort of soften down into the ground as you open up a little bit those restricted areas. The spine gets a chance to unwind, or actually to integrate the right and left side here, lengthening the muscles along the spine. And if you take a full breath in, you'll feel how your whole body just swells open. You can sustain that for a moment. And as you're breathing out, you can let your whole body relax deeper into this shape. Maybe your head falls a little bit more to the right. There you go. And the neck muscles begin to stretch. Great. Come out of the pose by bringing your right arm over to the left side of your body. You're unwinding. That's it. And now return to your back completely. Return to your back with your knees up towards the ceiling. And we'll do the other side by shifting your pelvis towards the left. And now rolling completely over onto your right side, all the way even over onto your right shoulder. And bring your knees more toward your navel. That's it. Hang on to your knees with your right hand on top of your left thigh bone. And now fan your left arm open, twisting, and even looking to your left, so that you get a chance now to let the other side open up. You want to feel that your whole body, or the upper part of the body, begins to open up. That's it. And it's your breath that flows. And now unwind, carrying your left arm over to the right side of your body. And now press up to sitting. Just rounding up to sitting, and you can bring your feet forward again towards the front here. That's it. Let's start with just a little forward bend where your knees are against against your thigh bones, and you can let your belly rest against your thigh bones. That's it. Your head dangles down. All the tension that you carried in your jaw and in your neck and in your shoulders just soften down. Let your shoulders relax.
What do I do if my stomach is in the way?
Let your body breathe. That's it. Take a full breath in that opens up your back. Wonderful. Then send your heels forward and loop your middle fingers and forefingers and thumbs around your big toes. If you have a strap at home, you can loop your strap around the outer edges of your feet. If you've got props at home and you've got your strap, you can move it around the outer edges of your feet.
Or if you have my husband's belt.
Or a belt at home will do. Trust me, I use I don't have props at home. I have books and belts.
Right.
Lift your heart upward first. There you go. And now, over the course of the few breaths, just begin to let your belly zipper toward your thigh bones. And you find yourself in this forward fold, Paschimottanasana, the head extending forward. Very soothing to the nervous system. Your breath supporting you. Come upright. And that's a great way to just soothe you. I have one more, but if you want to pause for a moment, we can pause for a moment, or I could take you to the next one or two.
We need more than one.
Okay.
We would love to ask you a few more questions.
Questions
and
are
then
fine
get
here,
right
and then
back.
we'll go right back into it.
Okay. Amy? Okay. I did have a few very superficial sounding questions, but I'm sure your answers, as usual, are always very deep, so I'm confident. Well, this one is not superficial, actually. Are you working on anything right now, anything special? Because I know your Times Square idea was great. Now, is there any other idea you're working on right
Yes,
now?
I'm
You don't want to
working-
talk about it
I'm
yet.
working with this, working on a little book, actually, a little yoga book for a guide, really, of
Right.
practical living is what it's towards. So I'm well into that, maybe about, 70, 80 pages into that book. We've been
Nice.
putting together something. So working on that. I've been traveling around teaching reconnective yoga. It is new, actually. My friend Kelly Woodruff and I are putting it together, but it springs from the reconnection, which is founded by Dr. Eric Pearl. It's a way of integrating what they call frequencies into the yoga practice. Frequencies is energy or refinement of energy that is
Right.
that one is able to tune into, and we've been applying that to some of the yoga postures, and so that's
Similar
what
to the auras?
it's similar
Reiki?
to the subtle body, actually,
right.
but yes, very similar to
Wow.
that. So lots of things are on my, we yogis are never still, as you know. So.
It's just Paul Grilly's way of saying moving into stillness, but then you're still thinking about it. Right?
Exactly.
You're always thinking about something.
Yes.
So the body moves while the mind gets still, so we're moving to achieve that stillness. But hey, the brain is already working overtime, as we can see from
Yeah,
your project right
it's-
now. Well, good luck with your
Well,
project. We're
thank
looking
you.
forward to it,
Well,
Douglas.
thank you.
When do you think it'll be ready?
My book, I don't know. It's hard to write, because
I'm
it
sure.
matters me sitting down and applying and researching and all
Right.
that, and finding the right tone and language. And,
Right.
But it's
For
real.
beginners?
For beginners, for everyone really.
Right.
So it's been so revealing and rewarding for me to get to launch into that project.
Sounds wonderful. Well, tell us the name of the book again. What
I
you
don't
plan
have
to
the
call
name
it?
of
You don't
it
have
yet.
the name yet.
We're just
Okay.
still
We'll
working on
Google
it.
you,
Yes.
Douglas Stewart, and
Look
your
for it
project.
maybe next year. I think we'll be out
Next
if
year,
I'm
about this time?
on schedule. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
That means you already have a publisher.
No, not yet. But I have a partner who's writing it with me who has published several books.
Cool.
So once it's all together, it'll be great. You can just approach a publisher or somebody approaches
I
you.
don't know the procedure at this point or how it will be.
We're
You
just
know,
excited for your book to come
if
out.
you know you write and then
right.
you just leave it on the shelf, or if you shop it around to people and say, listen, I've got this something that may be useful.
Might be
You
interested.
might be interested.
Right,
Here
or
it is.
right.
signing.
And so, if not, then
right.
then my family will read it. If I
We'll
force
all
them
read
to.
it. We're
Yeah,
looking
your
forward to it.
followers
This
will
is so
read it
practical.
too.
Douglas.
Amy, Judy, and I talked
Yeah.
about yoga in everyday life. Amy was talking about stretches at the subway and at airport lines and queues. So something like this would be wonderful. We're looking forward to it.
Well, thank
Our
you.
viewers out there, keep Googling Douglas Stewart. You're going to come up with something very interesting.
I have one question along that line then, Douglas. So, is it possible for you in the future that you'll develop DVDs? I don't know if you already have
Oh,
them out.
that
or
is
not,
such a great idea.
But, yeah, you know, for some of us who can't make it to your class, will you be offering DVDs?
I think so, yes, but yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't produced one already.
Yeah,
I
me
thought you
too.
did.
Well, there were
Question.
Yeah.
there are several DVDs out that I am on. These DVDs were lifted from a television show that I did
Right.
a few years ago
Oh,
called
we could put
Yoga
this show
Zone.
together.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
those DVDs are sold everywhere, even across the world. I was just in Toronto last weekend with the Reconnection Yoga, and the guy goes, "Hey, aren't you the guy on the
On the
Yoga
DVD.
Zone
So it's-
DVD?"
Wow.
The
So,
DVD is called Yoga Zone.
yes, if you go
There
there,
you go. You
and
want to
find
see
them.
more of Douglas?
So,
Pick up a copy of Yoga Zone.
so yes,
Oh,
those.
that's
But in
wonderful.
terms of promoting and putting out other DVDs for my own, I haven't done that quite yet. So
I think what the project that you're working on now would make a wonderful, wonderful DVD as a theme. You still have the same research. I think you should seriously consider putting it together as a DVD because as human beings, we tend to be a little lazy. I know I can be very lazy. If I have a DVD versus a book, I'm very happy to put the DVD on and I'm going to be stretching with you,
Yes,
and it'll motivate us beginners to really get into the practice. And you're out there stretching, you're teaching us the right technique. We'll stretch with you because we have confidence in what you say. If there's one thing in your life that you could change, Douglas, what would that be? Not that you regret anything. I'm just saying if there's something you'd like to do differently.
if I could change it as I get older, if I could change it, I'd slow it all down. I would relish each moment more.
Right.
And especially in my youth, I think I would take the time to relish
Savor every moment.
savor each
Yeah.
moment longer. I've learned how to do that now in my middle age, but as in my youth, perhaps I would savor more and enjoy the moment more. I'm able to do that now, but earlier on, I don't think I was.
Well, that's the flavor of being young, right?
Yes,
You think
who
you
cares
live,
about-
We all think
I
we'll
think
live
it is.
forever, and
Yeah,
we don't
and
really.
we don't.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
So-
just take everything in.
So in our sunset years, I'm going to feel that I'm getting there soon. But I understand exactly what you're saying. I'd like to slow down and take things easy. And I think this is a wonderful episode. You're going to teach us to slow down today.
Yeah.
Viewers out there, stretch with us. Regardless of what your age or your fitness level,
Yeah.
Douglas will take us there.
Yeah.
We have 3 minutes, so we are ready to do at least 2.
Let's do Parigasana, where you're sitting with your feet, let's say to the left side of your body, if you're able to take that. There you go. And let your left fingers reach into the ground. And now take your right arm up, breathing in.
Parigasana is a gate. Right?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Uh-huh.
Okay, gate.
And let your left hip bone reach deep down into the ground as your right side lengthens up and over to the left. That's it. Fit your chin right towards your raised armpit.
Ooh, I can really feel the stretch in my
You can stretch.
obliques.
Yes,
Right?
right in the obliques.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really feel it.
and intercostals.
Right. That's the one between the ribs, correct?
Exactly.
The rib bones.
Now let your breath move, everyone.
Now you're asking a bit much.
And then bring your right arm down. Let's come out of the pose, shifting over to the other side, so that your feet are on the right side of your body. Bring your right fingertips into the mat, just in line with your right shoulder. Let your right sit bone or hip reach deeper down into the ground. It may not touch, but there's the mat for it, because we need that sense of anchor for the stretch. And now take your left arm up. And that right buttock reaches down, and then reach over to the right side of your body with your left hand, and your chin fits right toward your raised armpit. Now cause your breath to move.
Interesting how one side seems to stretch more than the other. Even in the arms. I thought that only applied to the legs.
And then bring your arm down. And now, if you will stay right where you are, and stay right where you are, I want to show you the next one, and I'll turn my head towards the camera. And when you come into this pose, you'll turn your head towards the camera too, but I'll show you. This is called Viparita Karani. It's a great way to just soothe the nervous system and relax. If you have a foam block or stack of books at home, you can lift your pelvis and slide your block right underneath your sacrum, and then send your heels up towards the ceiling. If you're without a block, you can put your heels right up against your wall and hold here for about 10 minutes or so. And we'll hold for a few minutes. It's a great way to just soothe the nervous system before you go to bed. And everything that you've collected in the day drains down and out of you.
I like the way you express that. I'm looking forward to that. Do we get into that?
You want to get into that?
Yeah,
or
we'd love to. Did
All
you
right.
have any other posts
No,
you want to talk us through that? I might do my little commercial.
Yes, do.
Those of you at home, if you want a copy of my book, Yoga Secrets, it contains 10 ailment-specific cards of the 48 plus sequence. And you also will receive a copy of the postcard, a fridge magnet, and a business card with the sequence on the back, so there's no escape. You have it all over in your face, so to speak, but no excuses. We're going to stretch into Viparita Karani. Judy, you can take that. Oh, you have.
That's it. So you're on your back.
Those of you who want to participate in our program, contact mnn.org. We air Monday through Wednesday. Sorry, Douglas.
That's okay.
At 1:30 on TW57, RCN 84, and FiOS 35. So join us. We're open to all. Come stretch with us. If you want to experience someone as wonderful as Douglas, you need to be here.
So
Ooh.